The Real Little Carmine, Part 1. Cleaver, Porn, and Robert DiBernardo. In the final episode of the show, we see AJ getting a job offer to work for Carmine Jr., to which AJ responds,
"He does porn."
He did Cleaver. He's branching out.
Additionally, throughout the series, we hear references to him making porn or being a successful porn producer in Florida.
I think there's potentially more money in this than in the porn we've done.
As we know, through the history of porn, it has found itself in a legally dubious status at different times, which, of course, creates an illicit market. This is where the mafia and other criminal or quasi-criminal organizations step in. So of course, the mafia has had its hand in porn production. However, because it was often an illegal gray area, or it being a not respectable or dirty business, people who produce the films do stand to make large sums of money without real fear of legal retribution. This is where Little Carmine sits, and where one of his real-life counterparts is as well, Robert DiBernardo. Robert DiBernardo was a soldier in the Gambino family, but he occupied an interesting place in the family, as well as mafia history. DiBernardo was made into the family without following the usual steps of making your bones or committing a murder for the family. Additionally, as a made soldier, he was not part of any crew, nor did he have any real crew in a traditional mafia sense. He was more of a businessman who used the specter of the mafia to further his interest in the porn business. DiBernardo was considered to be a top porn producer and distributor in the United States with a vast network. His business was extremely profitable, and he would make weekly pilgrimages to Big Paul Castellano's house to hand off envelopes of cash. Big Paul, however, was disgusted by the porn business, despite willingly accepting large payments from the profits of the films.
What galls me is that before Little Carmine went to Florida, I was actually close with him. I was in his wedding party, for Christ's sake. Organized his whole fucking bachelor party. Lesbian show, whores, fucking disgusting.
This is something that rubbed DiBernardo the wrong way. As tensions rose in the family, DiBernardo found himself a natural ally to John Gotti. In addition to Castellano already disliking DiBernardo, Big Paul also discovered that DiBernardo was caught up in a political scandal that was getting news attention. DiBernardo had rented office space to the husband of a vice presidential candidate hopeful, Geraldine Ann Ferraro. The national attention, which mentioned the mafia and Big Paul, only further entrenched the dislike between Castellano and DiBernardo. So, as Gotti planned his coup, DiBernardo joined up. After Castellano was murdered, DiBernardo was elevated to being the captain even though he didn't have a crew of soldiers. He, however, continued his profitable porn business under the new regime. In addition, he gained control of theaters and sex shops in the old seedy Times Square. However, in the new regime, his profitable business and special position engendered jealousy. Additionally, it was rumored that DiBernardo was critical of Sammy the Bull's aptitude and skills as an underboss of the family. Eventually, Gotti decided that DB was disloyal and ordered him killed. Gravano claims he was reluctant to kill DiBernardo, but did so in 1986, inviting him to his drywall business and having an associate shoot him in the head. It was claimed the porn business lost substantial profits after the death of DiBernardo. Aside from the fact that DiBernardo was eventually murdered, I would say this makes a pretty good template for the Carmine Jr. character. Both men seem to operate without crews. Both were in the porn business and occupied a special position in the mafia family, being essentially lone wolves who rarely, if ever, got their hands dirty with the rougher aspects of the mafia life. DiBernardo's name was also featured on the HBO show The Deuce, which is of course about the illicit porn business in 1970s New York.